Okay, so now we're going to be creating a template, a component that is going to be rendering all the items on the list. If you notice, we have home and use, and right here we get it. You know, it's kind of working. So it's up to you. I'm going to do it this way. You can put it just like this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just call to a new component right here. And this component is going to be rendering the list. So I'm going to just start doing that. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to create a new component, and the name of this component is going to be called Sidenav. Sidenav, and then items, because we want to add items. We don't have this component just yet. That's why we get an error message. So I'm going to create a new file that is going to be called sidenav_items.js. So this one is going to be just a functional component. I'm going to import React from, and of course, React. So now I'm going to need to create the function, and we're going to do something simple at first, and then we're going to be changing it just a little bit. It's going to be side nav items. It's going to be equal to a function, and this one, of course, is going to return something. For now, it's just going to return a div with a link, whatever. I'm going to do export default, export, then default, and side nav items. By default it's just adding this, but I don't want this. Okay, so this one is just returning a div with link. So I'm going to need to go right here, and I'm going to say import, and it's called side nav items from, and then // and it's going to be side nav, I believe. Yeah, side nav items, which is the same file. And then of course, it's the only thing that we need to we include, because it's going to be in the same directory. So that's why it's working. We are not getting an error message, and we get a div with the link, which is what we are returning. Good. So now we're going to need to create the layout for this. We're going to do that first, and then we're going to be changing some things. So this div first is going to have a class name, and again, we're going to be using the modules. So for now, I'm going to say style dot, and this one is going to be an option, of course, because we have options. It's giving us an error message because we don't have a CSS with style and then option. So we need to create it. I'm going to go to sidenav. I'm going to create a new file that is going to be called sidenav.css. Good. So this sidenav CSS is going to have some style, and it's going to be option, open and close. Let me delete this. And I'm going to change the font weight, then weight. And it's going to be something thin, then font size, and the font size is going to be 12 pixels. Then the color, and we're going to change the color so we can see it on the screen, because it's black by default. BA. It's not really wide, it's kind of a grayish color. I'm going to add a padding of 10 pixels. What else? I'm going to add a border, then top of 1 pixel solid, and not really wide, something kind of a dark. And okay, option, very good. So if I save it, and I save it right here, what I need to do, I need to import the CSS. So I'm going to go here and say import, and then what do we need to do? We need to import the styles right now. So okay, so it's going to be import style from // and we have the sidenav.css. Good. In theory, we should be getting ready. Yeah, we get rid of the error message, and we get the link. So at least we are getting the styling. We are on the good track. Now we're going to be using font awesome. So I'm going to import, just like before, font awesome from, and then React, and then font awesome. Good. We're going to be using links, and remember that to use a link, we need to import it from React Router. So I'm going to say link, and then from, and then React Router, and then DOM. Good. So everything is kind of ready, so we can include a link. So I'm going to just go ahead and put a link. So the link is going to have a 2. And for now, I'm just going to say home. And I'm going to open and close. Link. There we go. So now inside the link, we can have 2 things. The actual text, just like here, the text, the actual option, and an icon. So I'm going to say font awesome. And I'm going to pass the name of the icon. And for now, I'm just going to say, I don't know, we're going to be using home, makes sense. Home. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to do it like this, home. And then I'm going to close it. So now we have the font. Let me make a self-closing tag. And right here, I'm going to say home. Let's see what we get. So if I open, we get it. We have we need to modify the style for the link. If you notice, it's a purple color. So I'm going to go to Sidenav. And what we're going to do, we're going to add a color. We're going to change the color of that option and then the link. And then the color, I'm going to say inherit. And I'm going to remove the ugly text decoration, which is going to be none. Okay, if we open, okay, so we get the icon and we get the home. Now the icon, it's kind of a gray, so I don't want that. I'm going to say dot option, and I'm going to point the span. The span is going to be the font awesome one. So I'm going to change it to white. Good. I'm going to add a margin so we can add a little bit of spacing. It's going to be 10 pixels. And okay, we get the icon and we get the home. So everything is kind of working. So what we can do right now, is just, copy all of this, maybe put it inside of a div or something like that. Let me do it right now. Copy and paste. And do something like this. If we want home, we put home. If you want a different link, we can do something like this. And this is gonna get rendered, it's gonna work. It doesn't really matter, but it's gonna work. But I don't want to do that. I want to output the information just like this. What I want to do, I want to use one as a template and then render all the options from a JSON object. So for now, just gonna delete this. I'm gonna leave it just like this. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back. So now what I want to do, I want to return a function that is gonna be looping a list, and then it's going to be returning this for each element on that list. Okay, so I'm going to copy all of this, I'm going to paste it at the top, and then I'm going to comment. Just going to move it out of the way. So now what I want to return is going to be just a div, and inside the div, we're going to be calling to a function. It's going to be show items, open and close. Good. So this show items is going to be grabbing a list and then returning this template for each item on the list. The thing is that we don't have a list. So I'm going to go right here at the top. I'm going to start creating a list. It's going to say const, then items, and it's going to be equal to an array. And it's going to be equal to an array of objects. So I'm going to create just the first one. So the main idea of doing all of this is to create an index with just a simple configuration and not to change the markup, change the template every time we want to add or modify something. So for example, each item, each link is going to have a type, and the type is going to be the class. So in this case, I'm going to say style.option, just like we did before. So this is going to be the actual class. So I'm going to do comma, I'm going to do icon, and each element has an icon. This one is going to be home, just like that. And the icon is going to be the class from the font for the font awesome. Then I'm going to do comma. We have a text, so I'm going to do text, and this one is going to be home. And of course, we have a link. So this one, the next option is going to be link. Don't worry, it's going to make sense. This is going to make sense in a minute, and you're going to see why it's really useful. So for now, we have just one option. I'm going to add a new one. I'm going to do comma. I'm going to copy all of this and paste it at the bottom. So pretty much we have two options. We're going to have the same style option for the class, but this one is going to have a different icon. I'm going to select the file, text, and then O. This is an icon from Font Awesome. And this one is going to be this section news. And this one is going to be pointing to news. All right. Okay, so now what I can do, I can create a function that is going to be entering the items. It's going to be looping the items and return a template for each item. Okay, so I'm going to go at the bottom. I'm going to start creating this function, and it's going to be called const, then show items, which is the same function we have right here. And this one is going to be equal to a fat arrow function. There we go. So this one is going to be returning a loop. So I'm going to say return, and then we need to access items, which is the list, the index, the manifest we have on top, and it's going to be dot and then map. Now on each iteration of the map is going to grab an item, and then we can have the iteration number. So this one is going to be equal to a fat arrow function. So we're going to say fat arrow function and curly braces. Now this function is going to be returning some JSX. So I'm going to say return, open and close. Okay, so that looks nice. So now since we have the template right here at the bottom, I'm going to uncomment. Let me delete this. I'm going to grab the template and paste it inside. Okay, so now on each iteration, this show items is going to be returning this. This is a template. If reload the application, we are not getting any errors, and if I check it, we kind of get something, but there's something missing already. So okay, so this one is going to return items, that map, then item and ID, and it's going to return something. Now for each, I'm going to need a key. We're going to need a key. Remember that whenever we work with React and we loop arrays, we need a key. So I'm going to say I. I is going to be the iteration number. Okay. So the class name is going to be not styled as that option. It's going to be whatever we have inside type. Okay. So I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to say item.type. Good. Now the link is going to have a 2, and the 2 we have it inside link right here. So instead of passing /, we're going to say item.link. Now font awesome is going to have an icon. We need to do the same thing. Open and close. It's going to be item.icon. And the same thing with the text. We don't have text. We have item.text. Okay. So, it kind of looks nice. Looks like it should. So I'm gonna go to the application and we get it. I'm opening the nav and we get home and we get news. So we are pretty much rendering everything from a template. So let's go back just a little bit. This Sidenav, it's including this component. The main job of this component is to return a list. So right here we are calling to a function that grabs a list of things. In this case, it's going to be items, and it's going to be looping this list. So on the first iteration, it's going to go to the list, and it's going to grab the first one, and it's going to be passed as item. So whenever the loop loops for the first time, it's going to be returning a div with all the options that we have inside the first iteration. And item is going to be equal to this one because it's the first iteration. Okay, so then it's going to check, okay, do we have a second object? Yeah, we do. And then it's going to go back to the beginning, and it's going to be returning whatever you have on the second iteration. So it's going to return this all over again. So at the end, instead of having one, you can have 2 items. If you have 100 items right here, it's going to loop 100 times. So let's add one more option just for fun. We're going to add the functions right now. We're going to have a news. We have a videos section. So I'm going to open and close. I'm just going to copy of this. I'm going to paste it. The style.option, and the main point of passing a style.option, it's because maybe in the future you want to change the styling. Maybe you want to make it bold or something else. Maybe a different kind of a link, a different kind of button. So maybe you can just pass a different CSS class, and that's going to get changed. So this one is going to be a video, so I'm going to add a play icon, and the text is going to say videos, and the link is going to be videos. And if we check it, we get home, news, and videos. So it's kind of working. I'm going to be okay. Let's add the other ones. We have a few more. We are not going to use it on this part of the project. We're going to have a sign in and a sign out option. So I'm going to copy all of this, going to paste it, and it's going to be sign in, then the name, sign in, and then sign in. It's going to go to that section. And we have a sign out as well. So it's going to be out, then out, and of course it's going to be out. So how easy was this? Just to add a new option, just changing something on this index. We just had to copy and change some text. The difference of doing this is that if we had to do it the other way, we have to copy a template right here inside the return, copy a template, paste it at the bottom, and change everything manually. And it's kind of confusing. It's confusing for you, and it's going to get confusing for the next developer that could be changing all the options right here. This is much easier. You just need to add an element on the array, and that's it. It's going to get rendered. And if you want to change, for example, the order, you just put it at the beginning. Just like this. Let me make it right. I'm going to do comma and delete the one at the end. And if we check it, we get sign out at the beginning. So, this approach, it's much easier. Sometimes whenever you develop something, you need to think think what's going to happen next. Whenever you create this application, everything is ready, and you deliver this application to the people that's paying you to do it. Who is going to be working with the application? Maybe you, or maybe someone else. So whenever you code something, you need to kind of make it easier to understand. So this one is much easier. Okay, that's good. We have the header, the Sidenav, everything is working, the logo. So the next thing is going to be adding a footer, and we need to be we're going to be working with the slider at home. So let's go to the next section and start doing that.